I've had students that never been on a plane, never left the Midwest, and they get on this
Wow.
plane for 16 hours and go to this little outpost, small town that is on the coast. And it just, it turns their world upside down. And they come back complete, all this self-confidence, all this motivation,
Yeah.
realize like, oh, this is why I'm going to school, because I want to be
Yeah.
like the people that are here and doing something.
Welcome to Bridging Boundaries, a podcast by Alliance for African Partnership. AAP is a consortium of 10 leading African universities, Michigan State University and AAP, a distinguished network for African policy institutes. Bridging Boundaries is a space that brings together people and organizations working toward common goals from different perspectives. This podcast will explore ideas in collaboration, shaping higher education and global research partnerships. We invite scholars, practitioners, and innovators to share their work and discuss initiatives that are addressing shared challenges across different contexts. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this episode of Bridging Boundaries. I am Yasmin. I'm part of AAP's team, African for Alliance Partnership, and I'm also a grad student here at Michigan State University. So for this episode, we'll be joined by multiple guests who will talk about their work with coastal marine ecosystems in South Africa. So I'm joined here in person by Dr. Amber Peters from the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife at MSU. Via Zoom, I'm joined by multiple guests, Dr. Els Vermeulen from University of Pretoria, Grant Smith from SharkLife Conservation Group, and also Dr. Gwenith Penry from University of Pretoria. Welcome all, and thank you for being here. So I think we're just going to start, before we just head to our conversation, we're going to start with brief intros. Starting with you, Dr. Ambers, if you could just let us know about your background, your role, and just let us know briefly about the work that you do.
Yeah, so I'm a professor in the Fisheries and Wildlife Department at Michigan State, and I do a lot of undergraduate teaching. So I have several marine classes. One is introductory, and then one is like a 400 level, so lots of seniors, and it's really fun to see them progress through the curriculum. I'm lucky enough to take a lot of those students over to South Africa to learn to scuba dive and to go to SharkLife Conservation and work with Grant and his team and learn about the research that Gwen and Els are doing with the whales and turtles and sharks and everything that's going on at SharkLife Conservation. And I've been working with AAP for 2 years and with SharkLife Conservation for 4 years now.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting industry. Like, I've never met anyone actually working in this industry before, so this is really interesting for me. So I think heading to our Zoom folks, any one of you want to start presenting yourself, your background, your role, and just basically briefly what you do, like work, research. Do you want to start, Grant Smith?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Sure.
My name is Grant Smith. I'm the managing director of SharkLife Conservation Group out here in South Africa. We've been an NGO or an advocacy group for the last 20 years, trying to increase protection, conservation awareness around particularly sharks. They're all connected, so all creatures really, marine-based. And yeah, we've connected with Professor Amber a number of years ago to try and facilitate research and learning opportunities for students from MSU.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today. Yeah.
Cool. Really cool. Dr. Gwen?
Hi, good afternoon or morning over there. Dr. Gwenith Penry. I'm a marine mammal scientist based in South Africa, and my history in the field has really been focused on the South African inshore breeders' whale, which is a baleen whale. But I've worked on several different species, and more recently I've been drawn into the world of marine protected areas and trying to explore ways of improving how effective our protected areas are for marine mammals and other marine life in the ocean. And yeah, I'm really I'm privileged to have been up to Sodwana, to the organization where Grant's based, and dived in the incredible Isimangalisa Marine Protected Area. And we're just starting to learn a bit more about the species of marine mammal that occur up there.
Thanks, Dr. Gwen. Dr. Els?
Yes, thank you. And good morning and afternoon. So my name is Dr. Els Vermeulen. I'm manager and chief scientist of the whale unit at the University of Pretoria. So we manage right whales, humpback whales, and Bryde's whale projects within the unit, focused mostly on Southern African region, and then obviously within the Antarctic ecosystem where these animals, especially the humpbacks and right whales, go feed. And I've been in the country for about 11 years. I'm a Belgian national. I've been in Argentina prior to this, so I love the multinational collaborations very much. And I'm trying to work more on the science policy interface as well within the international conventions around cetaceans.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for being here with us. I just want to ask you, when did you know, this is something you kind of cared about?
For me, it started 20 years ago when I came back from living in the UK for 6 years. I was in the IT industry, completely different, and had an opportunity to dive with sharks with my uncle. And we were running a shark diving operation for a number of years. But parallel to that, there was shark trophy fishing happening at the same place. And that ignited a huge amount of passion to try and do something for creatures that really no one was speaking for back in those days. It's come a long way since then. And so having seen that really motivated me and some other people to get together and form an organization to do something about it formally. And that's when it began 20 years ago. So it's been a long road, and many instances reinforce every day, really, that these animals need help, and the marine space in general, the oceans, it needs as many advocates as possible. So that's my
Thank you for sharing.
starting point.
Anyone wanna say something on this?
Yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint an exact moment. I grew up in South Africa, and my father was an ornithologist, and I used to spend a lot of time out in nature and in the wild with him. So I always knew I was going to sort of do something with wildlife and nature. And I studied zoology, so it wasn't specifically marine. But my first project was back here in South Africa on whales. And initially, as an undergrad, it's born from an interest and a fascination with the species. And as you develop your kind of tools and your experience in the field, you start noticing some of the more serious threats that they face, entanglements and ship strikes and competition with fisheries. Just once you start seeing that, it sort of solidifies your motivation to try and do something about it and improve the environment for them all.
Thank you for sharing that. So focusing on the project that you're working on South Africa, can you tell us more about it? What was the initial purpose of it, and then what kind of problems you oversaw and you thought what we're doing can actually help and improve that or solve it? Can you just tell us more about it?
Yes, so I feel like the Isimangalisa Marine Park is the largest marine park in South Africa. And a lot of resources in South Africa go to the terrestrial parks, because everyone, when they think of South Africa, pictures giraffes and elephants and lions. But it's a very important park with a lot of resources, and it's understudied and underfunded. And also the communities that live there don't really know a lot about it. So being able to work with established NGOs that have a lot of history working there, and then two amazing scientists from University of Pretoria, and bring in funding from Michigan State, and all work together with the communities there has been amazing. And also just helping the government authorities understand what we're trying to do and get them to work with us instead of put up walls has been really amazing too.
Grant, how would you let's say define your purpose, in one sentence? Like, I know that's kind of a hard task to do, but just like in brief, let's say phrases, how would you say is your purpose? Like, what are you trying to achieve through the group?
Yeah. So in the context of this group, we're really trying to play a role as a cohesive agent. So we're at the center of it, and we try and facilitate the connection with everybody. So we're on the ground, right in the middle of it. There, it's kind of our main role and purpose at the moment is to be the foundation and the platform that everybody can come to the area and their research, bring their students, and collaborate around the foundation that we have built there at the moment at Setswana and Isimangaliso.
Yeah. And then I know like kind of you guys are actually like dealing with different stakeholders, like there are so many people involved in this process. As you mentioned, like universities, there's like conservation authorities, there's also like local communities that you have to kind of make involved and also like be aligned with. And like, how do you manage those relationships?
Well, I think very carefully and slowly, with a lot of respect for everyone's background and opinions. When I go to Setswana and there are people there from Germany and UK and Australia, and they're all there diving and seeing this amazing marine park. And then people that live 5 minutes away have never been there. So that's one of the big goals, is to bring the local community there start to understand what they have right in their backyard.
Yeah.
And to work with the government organizations and not come in and tell them what to do, but just be a platform for discussion and try and get everyone going in the same direction.
Yeah. I think like also maybe because I'm from like a marketing kind of comms background, I'm also like interested into how you guys kind of, let's say, not promote but make people aware of the things that you do, like the initiatives that you do.
I'll give it a go. As Grant said, there's people, and Amber, there's people who live 10 minutes away from the ocean who've never been in it or under it or on it. Have got no idea what amazing life there is out there. And so starting with, fun educational interactions at the schools is a good start, and it's received very well. And we know that those messages go home to the parents, and organizing beach cleanups and shark awareness talks, like actually on the beach, and just engaging communities to get involved and understand why it's necessary to protect the environment. And then obviously there's the higher levels with engaging with municipalities and government organizations, hosting talks, getting involved in festivals. And being there to answer questions is just a really good start and way to reach out and raise awareness on that.
Yeah, sure.
I'll pass over to Els or Grant if they want to add to that.
Yeah, thanks very much, Gwen and Amber. Not much more I can add to that. Just a little bit of what we made you on the ground there with the project. Is because this is a cetacean-based project and we wanted to connect the community with cetaceans, the best way, obviously, is to take them out to sea where they can see them firsthand. It's amazing for anybody to see a whale, especially young kids who've never been out to sea. And then we took it one step further, where they put on headphones and we dropped hydrophones in the water and they could hear the whales sing. And anybody who's listened to whale song, it's very moving, and for the kids to experience it firsthand really pushed it to the next level of experience for them. So we're hoping to continue that kind of engaging in the field exposure with the whales and dolphins. It's been really amazing to share that with them.
Yeah, and once we have them down to the ocean and the beach, and we take them to the tide pools and they snorkel in there because they're big enough to lay down in, and to give them a mask and have them go underwater and just see fish for the first time.
Wow.
When they pop up, their faces and just they are so excited, and they start speaking in Zulu like as fast as I'm trying to understand like one or two words. No chance, because they're just rattling on about what they saw, and then I'm like, okay, tell me what that means in English. But it's amazing to see how excited they get. And on one of the trips, it was like somehow planned perfectly that we saw whales, and then we saw dolphins, and the students were just so excited to see them jumping out of the water and playing in the waves. And so that's a really rewarding moment, and part of why we all do this.
Yeah, I think that's really cool what you mentioned. I really want to be part of it, like that got me excited. I think you mentioned something, like you said, people kind of tend to have build misconception of how South Africa is, and then they tend to kind of not see the valuable resources that could be there, or the potential that could be there. How do you think we can make that better, or how can we, in general, in broader sense, how can we include more, let's say, conservation authorities, or how we can include more communities to kind of be involved more in this?
Possibly we could try and coordinate more of a learning space, because the out to sea experiential part of it is taken care of. It's really fantastic. But Jeff, if we wanted to improve on that and take it further, I think some structured presentations going through the different specimens, cetacean specimens that we have on the ground would help round it out. Yeah, there's any number of avenues to take, and probably Gwen and Els would be able to provide more materials going forward. Yeah. I think Gwen's got her hand up.
Yeah, just going back to when you started, people not, I don't know, the audience listening here, South Africa it's got a nearly 3,000 kilometer coastline, and a lot of those areas, I'm just talking more broadly about South Africa, we have some incredible environmental legislation available to help protect our marine environment. But one of the struggles is, coverage and enforcement, and funding to make sure that that legislation is enforced and followed. And some, organizations like grants, they often NGOs are really important in our country, and international collaborations and projects that come in to work with us are really critical for supporting our government organizations just to do things that they don't necessarily have the capacity to do in terms of manpower. So raising funds, raising awareness, getting the communities involved, and then providing scientific information that can help managers improve how their protected areas and the rest of the coastline are used. I think that's sort of something that this kind of project is really valuable for doing in our country.
Yeah, I think you mentioned at some part outreach initiatives that you guys do, and then how do you think, how much do you think those are important to kind of involving the youth in your initiatives? How much is that important to kind of keep this going?
Yeah, so I also work with Field Study Abroad. It's a company that gets undergraduates or recent graduates to come to South Africa and do projects. And we've probably had about, a couple hundred students come to Grants NGO now. And some of them come for 2 weeks, and then a year later, they come back and stay for 6 months. And when they go home and they write their papers and their presentations, the community that they talk to back in the US is quite large, and they have a big impact. And then also while they're there, they have days where the school children come in and they get to interact with them. And, see that, oh, all these people are interested in my world and they've come from so far away to get to see where I live. And I think that gives a lot of empowerment to the local school children.
Yeah.
That, wow, that people are interested in this. I want to be interested too. So I think that
Yeah.
goes a long way.
So so you're teaching like classes and stuff. Like how does this experience, like your real life experience, you being in South Africa and just you being in the field and then doing a lot of initiatives, how does that shape the way you teach?
Yeah, I think my students probably get tired of me talking about Grant and Gwen and Els and all their research and read this paper and see what their amazing things are doing. But no, honestly, it's just been so rewarding.
Yeah.
To have students go there. I've had students that never been on a plane, never left the Midwest, and they get on this
Wow.
plane for 16 hours and go to this little outpost, small town that is on the coast, and it just, it turns their world upside down, and they come back complete, all this self-confidence, all this motivation.
Yeah.
Realize like, oh, this is why I'm going to school, because I want to be like the people that are here and doing something passionate. So yeah, it's been very rewarding.
Probably that's gonna be kind of validating for them that they chose this path. How does the work that you do kind of help the research part too? Like, let's say, like, what are the new things that you kind of discovered? Not only like not helping like the research only, but like I know sometimes you could learn stuff from also like just being out there and like from the local communities. What do you think are the things that you kind of learned?
No, it's amazing to have Grant and his team in the middle of the park. And through this project and the funding from AAP, we've been able to build a conference room. We've been able to get a lot of new equipment. And then once people start coming there, they will, I've had professors from 3 other U.S. institutions there, and they're like, oh, we have some extra tags we can bring you, and we have this hydrophone, we'll bring that too. And all of a sudden, he's become a hub for research in the area. So whether people are studying intertidal zones or coral or sharks or whales or turtles, they're like, oh, let's go to SharkLife. That's our jumping off point. So it's kind of created this hub for the scientific community. And he has boats, and he has, every tool in the shop that somehow is needed at the right time to fix a flooded GoPro or whatever it is. So it's just that, I think that's what's been so valuable, is having a meeting place that has resources and a good team on site that we can all work with, and then surrounding that with university and government and community.
Yeah. Does anyone want to say something here?
Yeah, just in terms of from my involvement in this project, from the cetaceans sort of science point of view, we recently wrote up a paper about these pygmy killer whales that were seen in Sudwana, where Grant's based, and we would never have known about. And these are really rare species. They're hardly ever seen alive especially in coastal waters in South Africa. We know very little about them. And it's through Grant's network there, with the other boat operators and the community reporting things to him, that we became aware that these sightings were being made. And then, we sort of made an effort to try and collate that information, and now this project is expanding on that to try and answer more of the questions. How often are these animals coming into the protected area, and what is the movement between the transboundary movements with Mozambique and the rest of the Western Indian Ocean? And is this marine protected area a really important place for them? And that feeds into the management of both that marine protected area and the greater coastline. So it's kind of the science builds on a notification from someone who's looking and is out at sea and is interested, and it kind of forms the foundation of then developing increased knowledge about the species. So just thought I'd add that.
Thank you.
Just very quickly add on to what Gwen was saying there. Just to loop back to your question, I think it was you used the word a fairly fragmented space before this project started, and that's what was set out to address. Um, and you can see it unfolding. It's in a fairly unpredictable way because we wouldn't know pygmy killer whales meant anything until we started the project and we started to network with the University of Pretoria more closely, and then you start to see how things unfold retrospectively. You can see, that's how that happened. So going forward, we don't know where it can take us, but we know we're going to find out a lot more and build a lot more partnerships uh, on the through the seed funding that we've received from AAP. So hopefully, we look forward to a number of other cohesive partnerships forming with University of Pretoria and others.
Yeah. So this is a collaboration between like SharkLife Conservation Group and also University of Pretoria and MSU. Like, how did this collaboration kind of begin, and then why do you think it's effective? You know?
Yeah, so we started taking undergraduate students to SharkLife Conservation for the experience and the internship and being able to see some of the best coral reef left in the world. And then as we got talking to Grant about, we were sitting around, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Wouldn't it be amazing if we had this resource? And luckily, MSU was able to come in and provide a lot of that. And with people, some of my colleagues from Texas A&M and Mississippi State and North Carolina State pitching in, and Grant's partners there, and University of Pretoria was able to come to fruition. And like Grant said, we don't know exactly where it's going to go, but having all these people communicating and pooling resources, if Grant has 2 boats, we don't need someone else to have 2 boats. We have the boats, so then we can focus somewhere else with our resources. So it's a really exciting partnership.
I bet like your industry kind of needs a lot of funding, right? Yeah. I mean, you mentioned a lot of resources you need. Like, how do you deal with the funding part?
It's the basis of everything, right? So I'm not going to lie to say that probably the majority of my time I'm busy with raising funds.
Yeah.
Because we can only, reimburse students, we can only do the field work, we can only do, any kind of outreach project. Anything we do has a need of resources.
Yeah.
So as you get into management of things, and you're more and more just basically a fundraiser, and it's not always easy. And some projects will be more charismatic than others, and so it's about balancing that out. But it's the foundation and the basis of it all. So how important is it? I think it's critical.
Yeah, I think like just kind of personally thinking, I feel like funding is very much related to trust you build. So how important is it for you to kind of, like build the trust, because if you're asking someone about a funding, I mean, they need to see like the kind of the actions that you do, the initiatives that you do.
In general, it's people give money based on emotion.
Yeah.
And whether it's emotion towards the environment and the animals, or it's emotion because, they know the team, they respect the team, they know the work that's been done. So I think emotion is very important. The relationship building is critical in that. But yeah, Grant, please jump in.
Yeah, basically trust is built and earned over time, and we had worked with Amber for a number of years, building trust, and this network grew through people we knew, that knew Els, that knew Gwen, and you've got to conduct yourself, if any of the young students are listening, with integrity all the time, and trust is certainly something you should be earning from an early stage, because will build your rest of your career around it. So certainly a vital thing to cultivate as you go forward. Yeah.
And I also think, developing trust with the local communities
Yeah, absolutely.
is important. And I know the first group of students we had out Jabulani is sort of their ambassador, and he brings them down to the beach. And they were a little trepidatious getting onto the boat. For many of them, it was their first time in a boat, if not, down to the ocean. And a few, when we got back to land, like kissed the ground, like they'd just come back from the moon or something. But but then they went and told all their friends and went to school and told their parents. And then now more and more kids want to do it. So that first sort of test group was exciting. And then I think once they survived, the other students said, "Oh, I want to do this too. I want to do this too."
Yeah. So just like kind of following up with that, like how important do you think that kind of experience is for students, like beside, everything they do here, but how much do you think it's important for them, and how much does that add up to them going there in South Africa and seeing things and just exploring nature and kind of being in there and kind of helping? How much do you think is that it's important for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think whether it's a 14-year-old Zulu student that hasn't, takes science in school but doesn't really see anyone doing science, or even a professor or a doctor of biology or zoology. And then it all comes to life when they're there and they see, wow, people came here from far away to look at where I live and understand it. And some of them, it might ignite a passion, just like, Gwen studying birds, or Grant wanting to study sharks from, a young age. All the way from that kid to an undergraduate student here who, same thing, has spent a lot of time in lecture halls listening to PowerPoints, and like to actually be there and see it being done is a huge change.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like just for like, let's say, like for the future, like where do you see this project going forward in the upcoming years?
I feel like once you get momentum, it's really easy to keep things going. And all of us are pooling resources and, finding new opportunities for the next step. So I'm very optimistic about how we'll continue to work together and bring in more partners, and that then other people that are working in the same area, in the same space, will say, oh, well, they've got these resources and they know what they're doing. Let's join up with them instead of working separately or not wanting to work together. I think it will bring more people in.
That's a great point. I think just gonna end up with like personal reflection, and so just a question for you all, like what keeps you motivated to do this work? And then I know like this work kind of come up with also like challenges, like what kind of makes you grounded also to those challenges? Like what are your motivations to keep on going? And then what keeps you also there even when challenges arise?
Look, you have to have a level of passion for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Challenges will come along, and you just, you can't falter, you can't give up. You've certainly got to really just resonate with what you're doing each day, reset. You can't get frustrated when things don't go fast enough or the regulations don't make enough impact. You've got to pace yourself. It's a long road, and take your time, but enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy it. And if you're frustrated and angry all the time, then you've got to take a step back.
Absolutely.
But yeah, enjoy what you're doing and make sure the positive sides of things are outweighing the negative sides of things, and you'll make it through. I think you can have quite a level of persistence then.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thank you, Grant. I think just closing with if any one of you want to jump in on this one, just like one advice to young people wanting to enter this field, like what would you say to them?
Everybody in this world has a superpower. And I think everyone, especially young students or that want to go into any kind of field, is try to discover your superpower and how you're going to use that for your passion. It could be from science, it could be related to anything, right? But there is a superpower in you, so try to find it and unlock that and make use of that to contribute.
Thank you so much. That's very positive energy and a great mindset to think. Thank you so much for being here. And we thank you a lot for your time and for your insights. And we're happy that we kind of created this space for meaningful conversations to happen. I mean, across different industries, topics, and perspectives. And so if you're interested to connecting with researchers and scholars, you can join us through AAP Bridge and you can explore our resource. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure to meet you all. And I'm from a different background, so I was just like getting this information all into my head, like now understanding everything about sharks. And so this is really fascinating and great work. This is really interesting.
Yeah, thanks for all joining. And it's
Thanks.
good to see your faces and reconnect, and also to hear, sometimes we're talking so much about the science and the research. It's fun to hear like your bigger dreams and backgrounds.
Thank you so much again for your time.
Yeah,
Really a
likewise.
pleasure.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.